Hi,
and welcome to Ebenezer United Church of Christ and our first annual Outdoor Wise Fair. I'm Sue Kaiser, and I'm a member here at Ebenezer.
I'm Craig Moronic, and I'm a member of Ebenezer.
When I joined Ebenezer, I took membership classes.
Me too.
I met with the pastors to learn about the church.
Me too.
And I stood in front of the congregation and said I would be a member here.
Me too.
It was pretty important stuff.
Yes, it was.
Just like when we as a congregation voted to become wise,
Welcoming,
inclusive,
supportive,
and engaged in all areas relating to mental health. Today, we welcome you to talk to some people who work in mental behavioral health jobs and listen to our speakers share their stories. Please join Craig and I in welcoming our next speaker,
Julie Preeter.
She's the Executive Director at Mental Health Sheboygan.
And enjoy your day.
Enjoy your day.
Good morning. My name is Julie Preeter. I am the Executive Director with Mental Health America located here in Sheboygan County. And this November will be my third year with the organization. We have been in Sheboygan County for 63 years, formerly known as Mental Health Association of Sheboygan. So if you recognize that name, we have turned under a new name, Mental Health America in Sheboygan County, and we are an affiliate of the National Mental Health America, and we are one of over 240 affiliates located here in the United States. And at the core of our work, we have made a point within our county to work with individuals in need of navigation around mental and behavioral health services located here in Sheboygan and throughout the surrounding areas within our region. So throughout that time, we have gone through only a couple of executive directors and leadership here within our county. And I want to say I'm so honored to lead this organization. I've spent about 30 years within the nonprofit sector working to better our communities around the country. Formerly, I was born and raised here in Sheboygan, and I left for 28 years and recently came back about 5 years ago, and I'm just so proud of the work here in Sheboygan, the collective impact that this community makes. And I want to say I am so honored to be a part of the WISE church community here at Ebenezer. I give kudos to this congregation for taking the steps forward to change the culture within Sheboygan County around mental wellness. And it's especially important when we're talking about faith and spirituality with an individual. Most individuals, when they are in a crisis or need around their mental health, will reach out to their faith first to make that connection, to do a reach, to find a resource. And as you move forward as a WISE community, you're going to play a crucial part in those individuals, not only within your congregation, but also to that community around you that lives, works, and plays here in Sheboygan. Mental Health America is going to be right here by your side as you move forward to prepare you to be a WISE congregation. In reading about WISE communities, two things stand out. We're breaking down the stigma, and we're bringing inclusion into the conversation, into the individuals that we work with, and into our community. And all of this is essential when we're talking about mental and behavioral health services. This conversation has lived in the dark corners of our communities across our nation and globe. And it's congregations like yourself that are going to take the steps forward to break down the stigma, to shed light on the normalcy of our mental health. Mental health is health. And as you prepare and move forward, you're going to be developing campaigns, you're going to be developing resources, you're going to be having those conversations and community events. You will be the leaders within this community to make the difference, to step forward and be those gatekeepers. So a little bit about how Mental Health America is going to work with you as you move forward. We provide services from birth to end of life. And let me break that down a little bit. When a woman is pregnant and she has a baby in the womb, we've heard for years, the baby can hear music, they can hear your tone, they can pick up on the way that you're feeling. That's crucial when we're talking about a mother who might be in a place of need with her own mental health, depression, anxiety, fear of an environment she might be living in, a work environment that she may not want to be going to. All of that affects not only the mother, but it affects the baby. When that baby enters the world, the way that that child is getting attention and talked to and, basic needs, that starts to form one's mental health and the way that we experience life, all the way to end of life, from the caregivers for their parents or loved ones to that individual who may have struggled with their mental health throughout their whole life, or maybe they're facing their own mortality and are struggling with it. So when I say the lifespan of mental health, I want you to think what that looks like on the spectrum for an individual. Each person in this congregation has something to give at some point within somebody's lifespan. And the way that we talk about mental health will be important because it's the way that an individual is going to accept what you're saying as far as assisting them and help. So one of our main pillar programs at Mental Health America is working with youth. And we provide that core language and resource and culture for all 9 of our school districts and private schools within Sheboygan County around social emotional learning. If any parents are listening to me right now, we know that the culture is very different from when we were growing up. Kids and youth process life differently today. We need to equip them with the tools to be able to be resilient. The culture has shifted. Social media has played a different part. The stakes are much higher for our youth. So as you're thinking about what your WISE congregation is going to focus on, we want to make sure that youth is definitely a part of that. And how do you build within your congregation what that culture will be for here and for the community at large. We also work around suicide prevention and awareness, and we're looking forward to providing training for this congregation around a workshop called QPR, question, persuade, refer. And it will give all of you the basic understanding of what signs and symptoms look like for an individual at need. And it's important as a wise congregation that you understand what those signs might be that someone has if they come here to your congregation looking for help. Maybe there's a member here within the congregation that's looking for help. And how do we address that? Let's take the fear out of asking that question, are you thinking of suicide? How do we break down that stigma around suicide and take the shame out of it? So we're going to equip you with those resources to feel okay about asking those questions. Suicide is the second leading cause of death within certain age groups within the United States. It is a global pandemic. Each year we lose over 700,000 individuals throughout the world. Each year. Every 4 seconds we lose somebody. In the United States, it's every 11 minutes that we lose someone. In Sheboygan County, we lost 14 individuals last year. And the year before that, we lost 19. And that was the second highest suicide loss in Sheboygan County ever recorded. And I bring this up because we can't ignore this. And once again, individuals are coming to their faith first, looking for help. And if we don't know how to answer and we don't know what to say, we might be turning away somebody based on our own fears of just pure fear of asking the question. So going through this training is going to be a huge benefit for this congregation, and we're very excited because we need every single person in this country trained in suicide prevention skills. We're also going to be looking inward into one of our programs called Before Stage 4. And the theory around this is individuals go through different stages before they hit a crisis. Stage 1 being someone who's just feeling a little lost, not really understanding what's going on, and building through those stages into a crisis of either self-harm or making poor choices or just being severely depressed or within their mental illness, that they're not able to ask for help. So understanding the stages of what mental health looks like, poor mental health, and signs and symptoms of that is going to help you. And what are the resources? We're going to equip you with the resources. And once again, this is what we do here in our agency, is to support those individuals looking to navigate the system. So our program, the Information and Assistance Program, works with over 1,000 community individuals each year looking for navigation. And you who are listening this today will be a part of our MHA family, helping those individuals get into the care that they need. We have a great network of therapists, counselors, behavioral health experts to assist any of those individuals that you come across. And once again, I always call those individuals that are on the front lines gatekeepers, and each of you will be gatekeepers here within this congregation, and I thank you for that. We also advocate, and by advocacy, we are really looking and making sure that not only on the local level, but the state and federal level, that every single person in this country has a right to mental health services. Every single individual has a right to have a conversation within their workplace. Inclusion is critical. And I look forward to learning from you what inclusion is going to look like within your church. What does inclusion look like around faith-based communities? And how can we build that into the language of overall advocacy, mental health for all? We also have an ambassador program that we're launching this fall. One is our youth ambassador program. So we are building our army of ambassadors throughout all of our school districts where teens will be providing that voice of normalizing mental health. It's okay to not be okay. Our ambassador program for the youth will also include an advisory council. We are looking for adult members who are willing to bring their expertise and voice to the table around our council also. It will be a representative from each of the high schools, one representative, that's a youth, sitting along with professionals within our community for our advisory council. And from there, we're going to present each of the schools with campaigns, with resources, with a barrage of different activities for them to work on each year. And those ambassadors will also be equipped with QPR training, with before stage 4 training, with understanding how to connect those other youth, because we know that peers make a difference. Peers will change the way that an individual seeks treatment, whether that's addiction or with youth or someone taking medication within a medical setting. We know that peers make a difference. So if you're a peer and you have lived experience, make sure you see me, because our ambassador program around adults is also the same. We are asking adults who have had lived experience either as a caregiver, parent, guardian, someone who has struggled with their own mental illness and has come through recovery. How do you tell your story? How do you make a difference? It's you who have had the lived experience that can change the way that someone accesses treatment. With this congregation and with MHA, we are going to work hand in hand moving forward to help build your wise community here. And I hope that we can also bring other faith-based community churches into this initiative, because it's collectively going to need everyone at the table to raise the bar, raise our voices for that change. I just want to thank you all for this opportunity to come and speak to your congregation today. And I'm just so honored that all of you have made this choice and are working forward for the betterment of our community. Thank you so much.
Our final speaker today, Martha Hill, is a young woman who all of us at Ebenezer admire. Martha has worked at Woodlake Market in Kohler for over 20 years and is a diligent and uncomplaining worker, always willing to try, and in doing so, acquiring new skills. Martha has been involved in Special Olympics for several decades and has served for a large portion of those years as a Special Olympics Wisconsin Global Messenger. Martha is also an accomplished athlete with many accolades. She has served in numerous leadership capacities and is a positive role model for her fellow athletes both locally and globally. Throughout her different jobs, Martha has been fortunate to be able to promote her message of hope, acceptance, and inclusion, and to advocate on behalf of people with intellectual disabilities. Martha corresponds regularly with Dr. Timothy Shriver, the chairman and CEO of Special Olympics International, who has for a number of years identified her as his personal smile coach. In January 2012, Martha was selected by a unanimous vote from a field of 47 candidates to be inducted into her high school athletic wall of fame. Dr. Shriver wrote about Martha on that occasion. As a spokesperson for Special Olympics in her role as an international global messenger, Martha travels the world to teach understanding and acceptance of people with intellectual disabilities, breaking down barriers and building communities of respect. Martha has shown classmates, community members, and leaders in government, education, and business how to accept this challenge with confidence, perseverance, and courage. She has transformed relationships between athletes and their non-disabled peers, and she has been instrumental in making Sheboygan a more inclusive place. Ebenezer United Church of Christ couldn't agree more. Ladies and gentlemen, Miss Martha Hill.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Sue. My name is Martha Hill, and I'm a member of Ebenezer United Church of Christ here in Sheboygan. I would like to share my story about how I felt welcomed here. I felt welcomed because I was welcomed into the choir. While I may not be able to read music, I do love to sing, and I work hard to follow along with the melody. As a person with an intellectual disability, there are some things, no matter how hard I try, I just can't get. Math is one of those things. So fractions, like in half notes, quarter notes, or whole notes, are challenging for me. I do read very well, and one of the reasons I can read well and with fluency is that I love to sing. When a person sings along in a church choir or is part of a choir, they are reading with fluency. Over the years, I have helped with making egg rolls and refugee support. I also read the liturgy in church. While I was representing my fellow athletes in Special Olympics on an international level, I always felt supported by my Ebenezer friends. I remember when I was given a prayer shawl before I traveled to China. I knew I was wrapped in the love and prayers of my church family. It is not always easy for people like me to feel welcomed and accepted, but here in this place, I do. I think most people here realize that while I may not ever be able to balance a checkbook, I have all the same hopes and dreams as others, and I am a true and loyal friend. People with disabilities are not always happy. We are sometimes lonely and sometimes scared. We get sad and angry and feel hurt when we are left out, just like everyone else. I think the one thing Ebenezer could do better, and to be more inclusive, would be to create a phone tree to inform and call people who don't use the internet when there are changes to or cancellations of services. Thank you for welcoming me to be a part of this today. Thank you.